So you just hate it when your computer starts to play up and you have to do a restart. That's why we're late, folks. So, anyways, how is everybody this evening? We've got quite a few in the chat tonight, which is good. Hoping there's no echo from me, which would be good because we did have an echo. That's why I had to restart. So, quite a lot in the chat already. Is there an echo?
It's very minimal.
Very minimal. Always me, isn't it? Always
It's better than it was.
Better than it was.
Fine, as long as you don't talk, Ross.
That's fine. We could do that.
You can just do sign language.
It's bizarre. It's like either somebody's got it in the background or is picking up.
Have you got it open in two places? Because I've had that before.
No, I've only got it in one.
That one's muted.
Yeah, it's anyways. Just ignore the echo. We've got quite a few in the chat tonight. Now, I planned this last week to talk about Revell, but I know that there is another scale modeler who is talking about Revell at this time. So apologies if you're hearing some of the points that he's raised. But it's good that we've got 8 of us here to talk about Revell. Now, the reason I brought it up was that I was hoodwinked in buying a kit. But it's not all bad because it is actually a Matchbox kit inside the box. And at the time, I didn't look at ScaleMates because I was at a scale model show and I saw it for a tenner. So I kind of grabbed it and thought, well, let's have a little crack and see how we get on. Open up the box and there it was. It was a PK71 for Matchbox. But I'm really interested to find out where people where they lie in the scheme of things when it comes to Revell model kits, because I don't think any of you guys here have built a Revell model kit and put it on your channel.
Apart from me.
Apart from you.
I've put one out.
Are you talking? I'm talking recently. I'm not talking like when you first started doing YouTube.
A couple of years ago.
The McLaren I did was the Revell McLaren.
Was it the McLaren? Was it?
Yeah.
And how did you feel about building that McLaren? I guess it was an old kit.
No, it was a recent one. It surprised me for Revell. It made me start to question some of the beliefs I've had about them for a while. But it did not feel like a Revell because of that, if that makes any sense. Like, it didn't feel like I was building a Revell kit.
What was the plastic like?
Say that again?
What was the plastic like?
It was very comparable to like a Tamiya plastic. That kind of, a little bit softer, but still like nice and hard, the way that the way Tamiya plastic tends to be. It built up pretty well, pretty fast, pretty easily. But the instructions weren't the big improvement on the instructions currently compared to the previous ones. Correct.
Okay. Have anybody here bought any of their releases from the past 3 years? Because one of the things I thought was I didn't see much coming from Revell, but going down through ScaleMates in the last 3 years, they've done quite a few toolings. What was it they have done?
I've done their new Hurricane. The Hurricane they released this year in 1/32 scale. There it is. I've done that one.
And what did you think?
Well, my initial thoughts, the unboxing, it was a bit underwhelmed because it says on the front of the box it's got 118 parts, which in 1/32 scale is really, really low part count. There's the Airfix Spitfire 148, it's got like 150 parts. So why is it so low? But I've actually, since I've built the kit now, I think that's a typo on the front of the box. I think it should say 158 parts on the front of the box because whilst there are like duplicate parts and parts you don't use in the kit, there are more than 118. I mean, there's 30 odd parts on just the cockpit as it stands. However, even though it does have a higher part count than advertised, which is a bit of a typo on their part, it didn't feel particularly sort of exciting to build. It was like, yep, now this... It was very technically a good kit. Everything fit together quite well. There was no flash. The cleanup of the parts was minimal, and everything went together really well. There were no fit issues, but it just wasn't like exciting. I'll stand by what I said in my unboxing video. It felt like a 1/72nd scale kit, just bigger. It was just the parts were just bigger. There was just a few extra parts. I still think, it was about £45 is the retail price for it. You should potentially be seeing gun bays and maybe engine parts or parts that could be removed, or more options for things, because it doesn't lead itself to being an exciting model. It doesn't come with a pilot figure. It doesn't even say that you can raise the landing gear if you want to display it like that. So it feels like a kit that is technically good, but it's not trying hard to be an excellent kit. It's a good kit, but they're not making it excellent. Decals though, cartographed, so they were good.
Were they cartographed, were they?
Yeah, they were cartographed decals.
Right, okay. Matt, I think it's you that's got the echo.
Is it?
Because if I just mute you, there you go, I've muted Matt. Can you hear an echo?
Yeah, I hear a little bit of one.
A little bit of echo. Well, it may not be Matt then. It doesn't matter. We'll just carry on through. Just looking at pricing, 48 quid, 41 quid. Jadlam, I got it for £38 at the moment. So, which I don't think is an unreasonable price for 1/32nd.
No, and as it's a new kit, it's not a bad price. The price as it stands for what you're getting in the box, that's perfectly acceptable. But as someone who likes something a little bit extra, I'd be happy to pay another £10, maybe even another £15 for, a great kit. But this is basically a pocket money kit in a bigger scale, but not a pocket money price.
Are you saying that they've basically got their 172 and then just blew it up with bigger parts?
Well, we all know that's not as necessarily as easy as it seems, but it just doesn't have the gravitas that you'd think a 1/32nd scale kit would have. I mean, the Airfix Spitfire in 1/24 scale, that's £100, isn't it? But look at what you're getting with that. You get 4 decal schemes, you get open gun bays, you get basically like the entire internal parts of the wings are all represented. You can go wheels up and go wheels down. You've got options there. I think there's even an engine, isn't there? So you've got choice to do what you want. And yes, you're paying for that choice. But in the Revell kit, you are not given the choice and you're not paying for it. And maybe that's just what I like, is to have that choice.
It just feels a bit soft then.
Yeah, it's not. It is. I'll say it again. It's a good kit. Like, the designer has done a good job of designing the kit and getting all the parts right. They haven't been necessarily as clever as other manufacturers have regarding the sprues, because I found, like, in some steps you needed sprue A for 2 bits, and there was another 2 bits on sprue B, and there was another bit on sprue D, and there was a bit on sprue F, and you needed to go through and find them all. And that's where a lot of my time went, was in finding the parts before I put them on the model. But it was fine. It was absolutely fine to build. And if it was one of your first kits and you wanted something in a larger scale, then that's fine as well. And that's another point that annoys me about the Revell skill system, is that they've got it down as a skill level 5, purely because it's got over 100 odd parts. But it's not a skill level 5 to build. It's relatively easy to build. Like, if it was an Airfix kit, for example, they'd probably have a skill level 3, because it's not hard. A lot of the parts sort of snap together as well, because they've got locating pins. So, and also, if you throw into the fact as well that one of the paint schemes, the version I did it in, is a Night Fighter version, which is all black. So that, that's a very simple paint scheme. It could almost be a starter set.
Really?
Yeah, it could. I could say, if you've got the basics of modeling down, you could build this 1/32nd scale Hawker Hurricane in the black paint scheme. Just get yourself some black spray paint. You'd have it nailed. Absolutely nailed.
Yeah.
I think that goes
does
for
surprise me. Carry on.
I think that goes for the Spitfire as well. So I got the Spitfire Mark 9C. If you can see that.
Yeah.
That's, I think, a 2014 molding. So relatively recent, within the last 10 years. And it's very similar. There is no engine, there's no internals at all. The actual production of the kit is exactly as Matt just said. It's very good, but kind of it feels like they did the minimum to produce a 1/32 scale Spitfire. Now I've just got the 1/32 scale Italieri MC202, the Folgore, which is beautiful. It has an engine, it has etched parts, it has, again, as Matt said, you pay for that. But the comparison between them is very much like maybe not a starter set, but like a gift set, a kit for a beginner modeler who has maybe got a couple of kits under the belt and wants something bigger and a bit more detailed. That is actually ideal. And the price point is good. It's like £35-ish, I think. But it does feel like as Matt said, the kind of bargain basement almost alternative. I know they made a couple of mistakes on it as well. They've got wing bulges for the undercarriage, which weren't there. They were post-war because of the tyre production. So the little bits which have slipped through, so you can see that this same care and dedication that, like, for instance, we've seen from Airfix recently, that we see from Tamiya throughout all their kits, just seems to be a little bit lacking.
Interesting. I was quite surprised because I said you don't get a lot from Revell with announcements, or is it unless I miss them? I was just wondering, is there anything that's really caught your eye other than a model kit as such, a military model kit? Because I've just been going down through and they've done quite a few cars. I tell you what did get me looking was this BTR 50PK in 172. If I had seen that, I probably would have picked that up. But I have not seen anything from Revell in the past 2 or 3 years even suggest that they were bringing out such an interesting tracked vehicle. So maybe they need to look at their marketing a little bit more, because I thought they were going a little bit backwards by some of the kits I've picked up, or being hoodwinked in picking up. That maybe there's more to Revell than that meets the eye.
Well, I think
does everybody else feel the same?
I mean, just to before we started the show, I just mentioned to Moss that I did a little bit of research on this on Scalemates before we came on. If you actually look at Revell from 1990 through to the present day, each decade they've had progressively less new releases as a percentage of their overall releases. And since they've been purchased by the Investment Corporation back in 2018, which is a comparable time to when Phoenix took over Hornby, that's accelerated. So they were at around 28% new tools in the 1990s. They're now at about 15%. Whereas if you look at what Airfix have done since they've been acquired by Phoenix, they went from, get this, in 1990 all the way to 2009, 3% new tools. So they were just doing a lot of reissues. So I think under the prior mantle, which is I think why they got a lot of hate. From 2019, that jumps up to over 30%, and present 2020s, it's 40% new tools. If you look at the industry standard of Tamiya, they range from 25 to 40% over that, and they're pretty consistent around that number since 1990. So I think as the gold standard, what Tamiya are doing, Airfix are now emulating. Revell seem to be going the opposite direction, which I don't think is a good look for them.
I was going to say the trouble with Revell is that they've got their fingers in too many pies. They don't just do scale models. They do 3D puzzles, they do RC, they do drones, but their accessory side is very good. The aqua gloss paint or the aqua paints are bloody good, but just the range isn't big enough, because the one bugbear I have with Revell is that you've got to mix their paints every time.
But if you if you take that though, Moss, Tamiya are in exactly the same position. They put a lot of stock into their radio-controlled stuff. They have all of these accessories ranges, Tamiya paint. They do weathering stuff, weathering sticks. They do all the tools. And yet they've consistently put out good quality, high proportion of new releases. So why can't Revell do the same thing? My gut feel is that since they've been owned by an investment corporation, they're trying to maximize profit for minimum investment in exactly the opposite way that Hornby is being run at the moment in Airfix.
But is that not the case? But is that not the case with a lot of these companies? I'm just trying to think of companies that aren't owned by investments. Most of the stuff in the West is, but if you look at Tamiya and Academy, they're not, are they? They're owned by their respective governments, I guess.
But I mean, I think Revell and Airfix are a good comparison because they're similar sort of age. They go back a long way. They both had troubled histories. They were both bought out by investment companies at around the same time, 2017, 2018, and yet the approaches to the market and their relative perception since that time is opposite from what I see. Airfix are very present, very social media savvy. They're doing lots of new releases. They're making a lot of noise about that. They're working with the community, and it's all positive. I don't see any of that from Revell. I think I've got one newsletter from Revell this year, and it was very dull. I think it was about their model awards.
Yeah. All right, fair play. In America, then, Fenris and John, what's your take on Revell in America? Do you get as much as we do over here for model kits, or is it a rare thing to see on the shelf over in America?
I mean, you see them all over the place, but it's very much the same ones. First off, it's usually their older stuff. Again, things from like the 90s, maybe early 2000s. You don't tend to see a lot of anything more relevant. And when you do, it tends to be, because this is a whole nother part of the conversation too, it tends to be Revell Germany and not Revell USA, which there's a whole fun little issue there with some differences. Maybe you'll spot a Revell monogram kit here or there, but you see them, but they're the old kits that have been sitting on the shelf since you were a kid. You could you could have stuck a red dot sticker on it, come back 20 years later, and you'll still see that same box sitting on the shelf type thing.
Yeah. What about you then, John? Do you see them around in your neck of the woods if you're there? You are muted.
It's all about me.
John Alec I'm talking about.
John Alec. Oh.
Yeah, John Alex. So I forgot there's two Johns. But he is muted. I've just muted you, Matt, because there seems to be a bigger echo from you for a bit. So whether you want to just plug in your microphone again or something, just to see if it doesn't pick up the echo. John's not talking, so that's fine. What about you then, John Parker? Because you're a bit of a Matchbox aficionado. You like your Matchbox kits. How do you see with the Revell, using Matchbox again and again and again, and the newer stuff that they do? What's your take on Matchbox, on Revell?
Going back to what Alex was saying, I did mention a little bit about this last week, in that I think Airfix are basically pushing out loads and loads and loads of new kits. They're developing the model industry, and they're producing stuff that we want to buy. Revell on. I did a 32nd scale Spitfire Mark II, which I think your Mark 9C, Alex, was based on the same model. And again, no engine, no pilot. I even said on my inbox review that if Revell had put an extra £5 or £10 on the price tag and put an engine into the kit and a pilot figure, the kit would be fantastic. But it's very basic. Lovely. It's very accurate. It's a beautifully accurate kit, apart from the fact that it's got metal ailerons on it when it should have had fabric covered ones. But apart from that, it's a lovely kit.
Yeah. Do you think Revell would do well creating their own vintage classic range, as Tigers has just asked, which I think is a pretty good comment
depends
to
how,
make.
it depends
Yes.
how far back you go.
Well, I think it would be a giant step in the right direction just having it, like just not changing anything else, putting out the same kits that they always do in the same amounts, and just slapping that vintage classic sticker, however you want to say it, on there, and letting people know this is an older kit. I think would be, leaps and bounds better than what currently it is. Because right now it feels like you pick up a Revell kit, you have no idea. It's a gamble. Unless you take the time to do the super research, which, let's be honest, they're geared towards kind of newer hobbyists, so they're probably not going to. Or at least here they're geared towards the newer hobbyists anyway.
You've got to remember that a lot of Revell 32nd scale aircraft are ancient. I mean,
like the Corsair.
The Corsair,
the
they did a Mustang, they did a P-47 Thunderbolt. They're 50 years old.
And the thing is, you see those 132nd stuff all the time at both Hobby Lobby and Hobby Town here, which are the two big, hobby chain stores that we have.
Yeah. And this is exactly the thing, right? This is where I got this Spitfire. It's also where I picked up the Corsair. They were about, and they are RRP, almost exactly the same price.
That's right.
There is nothing on the boxes, unless you're familiar or go to Scalemates, you are buyer beware. But a lot of people aren't, especially with, you go into a hobby store like that and you see something which is £30 at 32nd scale and pick it up, or maybe somebody buys it for a friend or a relative or something. And if you got the Spitfire, they'd be really happy. If you got the Corsair, they'd be like, unless it was a nostalgia thing, it's like, oh yeah, I built this when I was 5. It would be like, this is horrendous because it is horrific. It hasn't aged well in any way.
The P-47 is the same. Terrible.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive sink marks. I mean, the original molding, obviously, the detail was very basic, overdone or underdone. Nothing moves. It's all big pieces. The rudder is molded in. All of those classic 1960s, 1970s things, which at the time when it was being sold for like a couple of dollars was fine, right? The thing is,
when those
there's
models
nothing to tell that it's a landmine,
When those Revell models were originally sold in the 60s, Revell had a policy where nothing cost more than $5.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But I think, like Fenris said, if you went into like the Hobby Lobby or here it's the Hobbycraft store, and you saw those two kits, and one is like in the new, that new style packaging, or new as it was, and the other one is in their vintage classics range equivalent, straight away, okay, this is a nostalgia build, and maybe it's priced a little bit less, if it's priced at £15 RRP. The thing has paid for itself multiple times over. You're paying for pennies of plastic. There is a plenty of margin at that kind of thing because they often have sales that sell it at that price. So that they can still make a profit on it. Again, I think it would do masses for their credibility because if you think Airfix were in exactly the same place back in the 2000s, 1990s, 2000s, people criticizing them in exactly the same way. And they've turned it around, so I'm sure Revell could.
Well, they own Matchbox, the brand name, and just by looking on Scalemates, if I'm not mistaken, I've done it right because I'm not Alex when it comes to looking on Scalemates for searches. But 179 kits Matchbox released throughout that time. There's 179 kits that they could release as Matchbox Classics. And then you won't get any of this bullshit where people feel that they've been hoodwinked in buying what essentially is a fresh model. And the beauty about Revell is that they have released a lot of these kits again, and they've done one step better than Vintage Classic, and that is they've redone the instructions. And Revell instructions are pretty shit art, really. But I would love to know what the crack is, why they've not reused the Matchbox name when they ultimately did buy Matchbox lock, stock and barrel.
Some of the Matchbox kits that Revell sell, though, Moss, aren't Matchbox kits. They've actually put the Matchbox name on some of the. If you look at some of the cars, which are old US manufacturers, I can't remember which, with the Matchbox name on. So again, they're not even being honest with some of the IP.
When they bought Matchbox and became Revell Matchbox, they just put Revell Matchbox on things, even if it had no connection to the Matchbox.
Yeah,
I get that, because I remember the BMW RS, that motorbike. I never built it. I remember seeing it in a shop or in the mid 80s, late 90s, mid 80s, late 80s. Never seen again.
No.
Never seen again. But
they
surely
were Matchbox tools, weren't they? The bikes were Matchbox tools. The Black Vincent, the racing motorbike. They were all Matchbox tools.
The only thing I like to know
is Revell is selling those for. It's like that Sherman that you got, Moss.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not selling them for like the same price as like the starter kits from Airfix, for instance. They're not like £8 or £9. They're like 17, 20. And to me that it's really annoying because Matchbox was always pocket money kits. They were kind of ahead of their time in a lot of ways. And what you got, I think, was great value. Whereas now, if you compared that Sherman that you got, the Sherman 5 Light, and the Airfix one, you pay twice as much for the Revell one, the old Matchbox one, and it's not as good a kit. No. So it kind of it leaves a bad taste, I guess, is the kind of feeling.
That's the issue. See, I'm gonna lay it on it. 90% of the time, Revell's pricing is pretty good, but it just seems that when they add a few paints and a bit of cement. All right, don't get me wrong, that contactor cement, they apart from what Italia's just done with their starter sets, the contactor glue was the go-to for any newbie scale modeler. As soon as I've got about 100 contactors, big ones, upstairs that I got for a job lot for a £5 at an auction, and I've forever, when I've given out starter sets as prizes or people who've never built one and I want to get them into scale modeling, I give them that contactor. But also, when you look at this price of these starter sets, they're 16 to 18 quid on a lot of them. That first diorama, I got it for a tenner, but RRP, I think you said, Alex, so about 16.95, 17 quid, aren't they? Yeah. So why don't they just do that? Just release everything, instead of having a vintage classic, call themselves Matchbox Classics. I think if you're listening, Revell, we're marketing here for you, lads. We really are. That would be the answer.
The problem is, Moss, they're not. So, okay, as putting my retailer hat on now, all of the retailers that I've contacted, whether they're wholesalers like the Hobby Company or Creative, or the direct manufacturers like Airfix, have all been really supportive. Right, really interested in my shop as a business. I had Andy from the Hobby Company come in today with a Tamiya stand for paints. He was actually off, but he came in because he happened to be around and had the thing. It's a personal touch. Revell just sent me an email saying, here's the stuff. We need an order with if you want to set up an account, we need an order with it. Yeah. And that's the only thing I had from them. I had no follow-up, nothing. So, even from that point of view, they don't seem interested. Whereas the others have all been like, here's your local rep, here's his phone number, feel free to call, or they've called me directly. Completely different experience. So it's not just as customers, it's also as, trade. I think they have these agreements with, like Fenris said, Hobby Lobby, Hobby Barn, Hobbycraft in the UK, and they just use these channels to just sell stuff to people who aren't aware. They don't really care because they've already got the money. That's the impression it gives.
Matt, Model Minutes talking to you've basically done a ton of reviews of Revell. Have they ever contacted you at all?
Once upon a time, I had a comment on I think it was an Instagram post, which said, I was like, I think it was when I did my Stuka, my JU87, and I put some figures around it, and I was like, oh, I've got a review coming on this soon. And then they left a comment saying, oh, we'll be interested, we'll be watching for it, we'll look out for it. and that was 2019.
Wow.
Or thereabouts. So I've never had an email from them. I've never had them contact me. I've never had a representative message me or say, "Hey, we've got some new products. Would you be interested in trying them out?" Other companies obviously have, but Revell is very quiet, I'd say.
I was surprised because I think when I look through what we've been doing, I looked at your channel, Alex. I looked at John Parker's. I looked at Sully's. All you guys that regularly upload unboxings and stuff. I was surprised, Matt. You were one of the most prominent of Revell, so I was just wondering whether they had taken that on board, like Airfix did with us. They do a lot of Airfix stuff. We need to speak to them and invite them into the fold sort of way.
Yeah, I don't think they think quite the same way. Unfortunately, which is a shame. But
I think
not go on.
Sorry, carry on.
No, you carry on. You probably got that point to me anyway.
No, I was just I can't remember what I was going to say now. You'll have to go.
All right, I've got 37 videos on my channel featuring a Revell kit. Some of them are obviously unboxings, and some of them are then again builds of it, but a lot of them are bespoke. This kit, it's nearly, let's say, like maybe there's about 30 different Revell kits I've built over my channel over the last 6 or 7 years or so, and a lot of their kits are quite good, but no, they just don't seem to be very, I don't know, socially medially aware. When you follow their Instagram and stuff, they're always reposting other people's pictures. Someone's done this fantastic build, but they never seem to be promoting stuff within their sphere of influence, if it were.
Yeah, what it feels like is that Revell is being run by an investment company, whereas Airfix is being run by Airfix, and the money goes into and out of an investment company. That's I think the difference, because it feels like Quantum are just like looking at managing Revell as an overall thing, not just the model bits, but as lines on like lines on an Excel sheet, and they're just saying, the model kit business has been consistently doing this amount. Let's not change anything there then. Next item, the 3D puzzles seem to be good. We'll put some investment in that. They don't seem to understand the market or be trying to understand the market. That's what it feels like, is that it's just being run remotely, as numbers on a sheet.
Yeah,
I think we've also got to remember that Airfix and Revell, even though they are owned by investment companies per se, and the overall, so like I know I say about Revell got their fingers in a lot of pies, or Hornby have as well. You've got the trains, you've got the Scale Electrics, etc. And Revell have also got their own version of Scale Electrics because they're now with Carrera, aren't they? Because they do Scale Electric kind of stuff. But the difference is that Airfix is like a startup within the brand. And Hornby's a startup. They're treated as their own individual entity. I don't know how the money is shared out between them, where the profits go, but I would hate to see Airfix go down because of Hornby, if you see what I mean. And I think Revell are doing that, but they're juggling it, but trying to keep everything all under one umbrella. If you see where I'm coming from. So, that Revell are looking at it as one big picture, where Hornby look at each individual brand they've got as their own entity. Is that me going out the works there? As I said, when I see Revell post, they never post really on Twitter like their drones and radio controlled cars. It's always about the models.
I see that.
You see
I think it's very much that the people the investment company Phoenix have basically looked at it and say, each of these businesses, let's take Airfix as a business, it's a brand within our portfolio. What do we need to grow that? And they've gone to the people who work for them and basically asked them. I think that's the difference. That's what it feels like. Is there's a concept I've used in business before called Gemba evidence. It's a Japanese thing. So you go to where the work is being done. So you ask the people who actually do the stuff, which is why I think you have modelers, designing stuff in Airfix, and then you get the stuff that works for that market best. It doesn't feel like Revell are running it the same way. So that's what I think the difference is
I feel like Revell design a kit. They must obviously have research done to say this is a kit that will sell, but it's almost like they walk in front of you and go, "Here's our kit, buy it," and that's it. That's it. It's like you don't know anything about it. You don't know where it's come from. You don't know the story behind it. There's been no hype behind it. Yeah, they might have released a couple of images or whatever, but there's no wider promotion. Did you know that Revell has a YouTube channel?
No, I didn't.
Right. It has less than 3,000 subscribers and it has 105 videos. And in the last, I don't know, year or whatever, they have done nothing other than just put out some videos, some less than 31 seconds long videos. Every single video is 31 seconds long, and it shows a model in the range rotating on a turntable. That's it.
It's probably because YouTube, like somebody said that shorts were the new thing for YouTube, so they're like, right, we'll make 31-second videos.
But it's not even a short.
Again, that goes back to that investment company feel. It's just like they just have this kind of almost like an AI generated response. There's no heart in it. They don't really understand. Like with that, like John said, with the Spitfire and the Spitfire 9, which is derived from it. They've done the research, but it feels like they've done the minimum amount of research. They went and looked at an aircraft, but it was obviously a Spitfire that had been modified post-war to accommodate the larger tires after Dunlop didn't produce the original, so they had the added bulges. They didn't think about it. They just, okay, it's got those bulges, we'll put them on. So they didn't go that extra mile to think about, well, was that period, because these are all restored aircraft. They didn't look at, the fabric control surfaces. So it just feels like they've done a level of research, but they haven't gone like to the level that Airfix do. And individually, as modelers, of course, we often go even beyond that, which may be a little bit too much for some manufacturers, but it just feels like they've done enough to release a new kit without really going that extra mile. Maybe that's why they don't include the engine and other pieces like that, because that would require more time.
I feel like they're living a bit in the past and they're just expecting you to walk into a model shop and just buy a Revell kit that's on the shelf. Like in the old days where you didn't know what had been released which year. You just would go in, see what was available, and then pick the first thing that took your fancy based on price and potentially what information is on the box. That's what I feel like they're working off of. They're not leaning on the fact that everyone has almost like a supercomputer in their pockets these days, and you can find out how good a kit is before you even take it off the shelf.
Yeah. But then again, we no disrespect here, but this was Airfix 5 years ago.
Exactly, it was.
That's the difference, right?
Well, actually, Airfix was worse
from there.
Yeah,
Airfix
they heard what
was
I was saying.
terrible.
But they just say I'm not going to deny that Revell are reasonably priced. The plastic's pretty good. The instructions are very good. If you want to use their paint, Aqua isn't a bad paint to hand brush with. Actually, it's very good. The lack of accuracy of them growing up, producing new stuff. When we saw the announcement that Revell were bringing out the James Bond range and tooling a new car, it's not a scale model per se. It's a snap fit kit that they're doing, the DB5, which I like to see the difference when it comes out towards Airfix's DB5 at 148 and their 124 when it's all just snap type, if you know what I mean. But the real killer for me was that they're bringing out a Meteor, the Gloster Meteor, and they're going to call it a platinum kit, and it's not released yet, but apparently it's 130 quid for a 132nd. Now, either they're going to blow us out the water and make us eat our words, or they are, they're pissing in the wind at that price for 132nd scale vehicle. I'm just saying, it's a lot of, and for that sort of money, I want it to come in a gold box with a golden egg. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money for a kit at 132nd scale. But if they bring out something that is a good kit and it has everything, photo etch, decals, or basically an Edard kit with all the extras, then fair be it. But at 130 quid, I can't see him selling a lot unless it is a bloody good Meteor. And at the moment, we've got Airfix's Meteor at 148, which is a bloody good kit in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, again, going back to the whole it feels like they're being run by an investment firm. It feels like they're just looking at what Tamiya has done with their 132nd planes, with like the Corsair and the Zero and all those, because they have all those parts and they're roughly that price. And they were like, oh, so we can do something like that. So unless they, like, as you say, really add some stuff to it, I don't know.
Yeah, because the Tamiya 32nd scale stuff is quite old too.
Yeah, but at this point in time, like they're great, but yeah, they are getting up there now.
Yeah.
But they were good kits when they were released. Really, really good kits. In fact,
Yeah.
the 32nd scale Zero is supposed to be the best Zero in the world.
Yeah. I was just going back though. If we talk about, sorry, Matt, I'm going to mute you again because I'm getting an echo. If I don't mute you, I don't know what it is. There's something. Is somebody picking up Matt? Because I mute Matt. If I mute him, the echo goes. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. So, but just quickly, when you talk about Revell, we're not knowing what's Tamiya doing different though with social media. You know, are they hitting a specific point, or are they more? Because when I see Tamiya posts occasionally, or people post about Tamiya, it's obviously in Japanese. So you know, do you see a lot of advertising and pushing the Tamiya
I
stuff,
think they have
or is it just
a much larger social media presence. I mean, I follow them, and you know, they have Tamiya USA, and there's a massive amount of modelers, especially like on Twitter, that build a lot of Tamiya kits. So yeah,
and I was gonna say, like, I see them constantly posting on Instagram.
Okay, yeah, I'm not on the gram, but
yeah, both the USA and the Japanese whatever their Japanese account name is. Like, I see a lot of posts come out of that, and I have a buddy who lives in Japan, and he said that, like, he knows of Tamiya and he doesn't build models because he sees their ads all the time over there. So, you know, that's a statement in and of itself, right?
right.
And they have their, you know, you can book the Tamiya Experience Day. You can go. They've got their open center there. You can visit. You don't have to book in advance. I'd love to do it someday. Go to Japan and have a look around and stuff. But you know, they have that same open kind of mentality. Of course, we don't see a lot of that because we're not in Japan. But again, they feel like, and that's their origins, right? They came from a guy who wanted to make the best models he possibly could. And if you ever read the Tamiya story, you know, it kind of goes through all of that. And that kind of comes through, I think, in their ethos, if you like. I think they understand modelers. It doesn't feel like Revell. At one time, I think they did. I think in the 1990s, I've said this to Moss many times, 1990 to about 2005-ish, they were producing a lot of new kits, really good stuff, you know, state of the art. They seemed to understand. They were present at model shows. I remember seeing IPMS. They had a big stand. They had all this stuff out, talking to people. They seem to have lost that. And again, I don't know whether that is since they've been bought by the investment company. But I mean, now, Tamiya, you know, Revell always had a bit of a reputation. They kind of clawed that back in the 1990s, early 2000s, and they seem to have regressed again. You know, I mean, you say about Tamiya instructions being good. Revell instructions being good. That's true for the new stuff like this.
Yeah.
But that Corsair that I bought at the same time as the Spitfire had these instructions.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, which haven't changed.
Please put those down before they give some PTSD. I mean, come on. Those are horrible.
Black and white things, you know, with these exploded diagrams.
They're horrible.
You know, horrible things. And you know, it was pot luck. If you were a random buyer, oh, I like American fighters, I buy the Corsair. Horrible experience. I like the Spitfire, British fighters, good experience. That seems to be just, you know, a roll of the dice.
That's the sad thing about Revell, isn't it? That is this the roll of the dice. It's like My first ever kit that I built from Revell was their P47 in 1/72 scale. Yes, people have said that it's got potentially some inaccuracies with the shape or something, but for like a 12-year-old me who went from building old Airfix kits, like an Anson and the old Blenheim and the old Hurricane, all of the old ones, and then you pick up this Revell kit and it's got recessed panel lines, it's got a canopy that can be opened and closed, it doesn't have to be fixed, it can slide open and closed, you've got landing gear up and down, you've got a wealth of detail that just Airfix kits that I'd experienced at that time didn't have. And I thought, wow, if every Revell kit is like this, every single part had a label on it for what color it needed to be. That kit took me about 2 weeks to build because I was just like, this is a lot to deal with. And I thought it was amazing. You then go out and buy the Revell P51D Mustang in 1/72 scale, and it is night and day. But there's no way to know at all. It's the same artwork style on the box. It's the same information on the box. There's no information about the tooling. You take it home and you think, oh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to knock the old Airfix P51 off the shelf. You open it up and it's worse. And you're like,
the old monogram kit or something.
It is. It's the old frog kit, I think. It's all wrong shape and everything.
The D or the B you were saying?
The D, yeah.
The D is actually the old tool Revell kit.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
They still released that in 2006.
I've got one in the stash.
But the B variant is beautiful.
No, I did the 32nd one. It was absolutely amazing.
The 72nd scale B variant P51 is lovely.
And I think this is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, the P47, the B Mustang, the Flitzer, the AR 555, all of those kits came around they started, I think, around 1990, 1991.
That's right. And
went on to about 2005, making those kinds of things with that beautiful recessed detail. I remember, I think it was the Condor, and it had like some MG151s in there with, you could see like cooling bits on the machine guns. It's like, it wasn't just a stick of plastic, which was what you used to. It was good enough that you wouldn't even think about, I'd have to buy, resin replacements for these, or if you wanted to detail it. It was like, these are actually good.
The Revell ones like that too.
Yeah,
really nice.
I've got their ME262 in 1/72 scale, and that looks lovely on the inside. I mean, the instructions leave a little bit to be desired because it's got that loads of different colors and all the mottling, and you can't tell what color it is because it's all black and white. But there's
they do different mottlings, don't they?
They do.
It's just like, if it's just dots, then it's this, and if it's dots with dashes. But the thing is, it's all mottled, so it all looks the same.
Yeah. So you buy that one, and then you go and buy their TA152, and again, you dealt with a 1960s tooling. It's like, come on, just pick. I mean, I know if you talk to Airfix now, they won't put their old, anything pre-Hornby, they won't put in a red box. They'll put it in a vintage range.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of a thing is, would make a world of a difference if Revell would do something like that for that very reason.
Definitely.
Put in my article I put on my Substack. Quick plug on my Substack. I said that Airfix pulled a blinder by putting the age of the kit or the year of the tooling of the kit, as well as the age of the box art. I've noticed on some occasions it says tooling and box art 1970 or 90. I've seen that on a few.
Yeah.
And then the box, and it says box design now.
Yes.
So and that's just lovely.
Other companies have taken that on board as well, because I know Beacon Models do that. Beacon Models will even tell you where the different parts were manufactured. I know Airfix does that to a certain degree, but it won't tell you specifically. It will say manufactured in India and the UK, whereas Beacon Models, they'll say the plastic comes from here and the decals come from here and the box comes from here. They'll tell you specifically. So it's nice that change has been brought in, but I think it's due to a lot of people shouting about it and saying this has to be a change. We can't. I think they started to see that people were starting to vote with their wallets. Google a kit, find out that it's old, and not buying it. So you might as well be transparent, because people are going to find that information out anyway. You go on ScaleMates, it takes you 10 seconds to Google it, and you're going to find out.
And you are going to have people like myself who is willing to buy an old kit.
Oh yeah,
I would have
definitely.
bought if that first diorama, if that was 16 quid, but they had boxed it as Matchbox PK71, I would have bought it for that with those paints and glue. Because I know that I've built that tank before, and I like to have it in my stash again for a time when I build it again. There's nothing wrong with that PK71. Like I said, the tracks on it, those rubber band tracks, I forgot how good Matchbox tracks were. I shit myself. I was like, have they redone these? Have they remanufactured the tracks? Because I remember doing them like that before, but it totally went out of my radar because I haven't seen a Matchbox kit in such a long time. So, and I would pay for it, and I do it now. Damn well, if I see a vintage classics like the Bomb Bug, look at all. People forget that Airfix have duly said that a vintage classic is a brand within itself. Okay, even though it's Airfix, it's still classed as a separate brand to Airfix of now, but it's one of their biggest sellers because they're opening on it saying, you pays your money. What was it? That Jaguar 420. What a crock of shit. Honestly. The flash on it. Honestly, the flash on it, man. You end up, putting your
I think
thumb
maybe
at
somebody
your
needs to actually speak to Revell to Quantum and in terms that they can understand in terms of business sense, and just say, look, all of this old shit that you've got, that's your cash cows. You can just not invest in these, put them in old boxes so they look old, like Airfix have done. Use the example of Airfix, and you just do those. They pay for themselves, almost all profit, and just leave those around. Yep. And then you take your focus, your little Revell group of people, and you emulate what Airfix have done. You look at gaps in the market, you do all the stuff that they were telling us, and we produce some, good kits. Because the thing that Revell have done, I can't remember whether it's Fenris or Matt that said this. The rest of the market has moved on, but they haven't. They're still making kits like it was 1990 or 2000, that they could just make a kit and put it out there and people just buy it. But now modelers are much more savvy, and the standard has raised so far. Tamiya have been consistently doing this for decades, but the rest of the market has also got up there now. So there is so much choice. And I think Revell are just, they stayed where they were and say that where they were is here. But the rest of the market has just risen. And they haven't changed. So they're falling behind, I think, because of that. Plus this reputational problem. I don't see good things in the future for them. They're not going to be cash cows for much longer, those kits, if people can get better kits from other manufacturers who are more present in social media
and transparent.
And transparent, yeah. And I think, I can't remember who again said it, but the customer experience. If you've got a good experience, you're more likely to repeat it.
Oh yeah, and exactly.
Is that coin toss again? With Revell, am I going to get a good experience? Who knows?
Yeah, that's what Dale said. It was like, I can't put out a good kit and a bad kit, because that bad kit, as someone's first go, will be the last time. But if they buy the good kit, they'll come back for another one. But that's I don't think Revell get that. They're just like, well, people will buy it. We make it, so people will buy it. It's like, what is it? The baseball film. If you build it, they will come. But that isn't it anymore. Times are getting hard. People don't want to part with their cash on a duff kit. It's like my wife says. She says, buy cheap, buy twice. So you don't want to buy twice because you can't necessarily afford to buy twice. I don't want to go and buy the Revell P51D Mustang, realize it's rubbish, throw the rest of the kit away, keep the transfers, and then go and buy a different manufacturer's one. I just want to buy theirs. I just want to buy that one because it would look good on the shelf. But unfortunately, now I'm upset because I've got to spend more money, and I've had a bad experience.
But that's the issue you've had. This, when you actually listen to when you were there at the same time as I was, Matt, at the Creator Day, when Dale said that sometimes in the vintage classics they spend more money on the decals or the decals than they do on the plastic that's in the box.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that goes for they've redesigned the decal sheets as well. They haven't just got, they've got Jonathan Mock to do, the Oster Antarctica that I did, fresh decals, cartographed, and and the other thing is that that tooling has been released so many times, they've already got the money back from the initial investment of that steel tooling. The problem with Matchbox is that they think they can still charge the price of it being a new tooling. That's where I'm coming from.
I get you.
You see there's no money in that tooling now. That tooling has paid for itself over the past 20, 30 years. So now they can, and I think this is where Tamiya goes a little bit wrong as well with their pricing sometimes. Because I know there's big uproar about, the pricing of Tamiya is 24% across the range. If it's in Japan, it's even more over here now because you've got interest rates and stuff. But when a tooling's made its money, it's at that point you can then just make the profit on the plastic, the decals in the box, not the investment in the tooling, because that's already been paid for. And I think Revell think that they can price high of these like it's a new tooling, and that's where they've gone tits up. If that's how I see it, anyway. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me on that.
There's definitely a mentality with Revell of we're the only option you're going to have because modeling is this niche thing, and we're the forerunner, so you're going to we're your only option. That maybe was true in the 90s, but just isn't the case. And it's like they haven't realized that they're not the star of the show anymore. Like there's definitely this feeling of that, at least here in the US anyway.
Yeah.
Here in the UK, you go into a model shop, you're going to see Airfix kits, but you're also going to see an absolute smattering of Revell kits. And I get the feeling that it's like we'll just churn out as many as we can and get them in as many shops as possible and as many online shops as possible. So that way we will sell as many as possible. But I'm not sure how effective that method is.
Yeah, it's like carpet bombing. It's just like you send out a load of stuff and some of it will hit the right target. But I just don't think we're in that time anymore. I mean, okay, I put my shop hat on again. I don't have any Revell stock at the moment. It was my lowest priority. I looked through the price list and their margins are actually pretty good. But I mean, of all of the brands, actually Airfix are probably the best partner because they've got decent margins. Margins on Tamiya and aren't great. They cost a lot. They cost a lot for retailers. So you don't make a lot on Tamiya kits, but they will sell. A Revell kit, now, because I know about the kits, I'm going to avoid all of the old crap anyway. That gives me a much smaller pool to draw from. They all have minimum order values that you have to do. So, and again, it's about the engagement. What are they giving to your business to help you sell stuff? So I think if retailers are feeling that, and plus they're competing through like Hobby Lobby, Hobbycraft, all these big stores which can do big discounts, and that kind of thing. Where's the incentive for model shops to stock? I just don't see it. So, I mean, again, you're looking at a shrinking amount of the market that you're even being exposed to.
Well, I think Revell have got to look at themselves deeply and just see where they're lying to. Because each of us here have all experienced Revell of what the crack is. But ultimately, we still want to build. If they bring out a model that you fancy building, and I presume the newer stuff is good. The only thing I will say is the Jaguar they pulled from the market because there's a lot of sink marks, which brings me to the fact is where was Revell actually manufacturing their kits from? I know all their airliners are Korean because they're Academy, aren't they? All their airliners. But where
they do a lot in Poland.
Is it a lot in Poland? Is it?
I think so. Yeah, a lot of their stuff seems to be manufactured in Poland.
And nothing from India. Go figure.
They've got a lot of companies that send them plastic and they box it up in Germany.
ICM do that, don't they?
ICM do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do with a lot of companies.
I wouldn't like to be able to count the companies that they do that with. Monogram's another company. I don't even know if Monogram's still going, or is it under the umbrella of Revell America? I don't know.
I thought they were under that Models to Go, wherever it was called, that company in America. that have Aurora kits and AMT and stuff like that.
Round two.
Round two, that's the one.
Yeah, I think round two has Monogram now.
The company that sell all that stuff from Revell. They call it. Oh God.
It's interesting you've been, with your scope out, because you are now becoming a model shop owner. How you see Revell in the future? Then, will you just basically have like a little section of the newer stuff in the corner that you would be willing to sell people, I guess, because you know exactly what's in the box?
So there are a couple of things I wanted to do with the shop. One is I didn't want to sell stuff that I wouldn't want to build myself, that would give a bad experience, because I don't want somebody to buy something from the shop and think, actually, this was a shit kit, Because again, it's the association. Even though it's nothing actually to do with you, people don't work that way. People associate negative experiences with places and all the rest.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I've got no plans to stock anything Revell. I don't intend to stock any of the paints, because who uses Revell paints other than our starter sets? I've got the Tamiya acrylics. I'm getting Outlaw lacquer. I'll probably pick up the Vallejo range. I've got some Vallejo model sets at the moment, the AFV colors or whatever, because they're convenient. But the Vallejo range is huge. A lot of people like brush painting that, so I think that's a good addition, but that'll come later.
There's two types as well, though, isn't there? There's the Model Air, and then they have the Gamer, don't they? The Gamer range, and
then you have Model Color and Model Air, Game Color, Game Air, Mecha Color, Metal Color.
Yeah, they got a lot.
I still thin their air with their thinner. It's still a little bit too thick to spray.
Yeah, just from reaching, a foot away from me.
Yeah. What was the other one you had then? Was that Game? Was it? Is they call it Game Color? Don't they?
Yeah, this is Game Color, and then there's some other game ones. There's like they have a Game Air, they have a Game Extra Opaque is apparently a line. And then this was their Mecha range that they did specifically for ABS plastics for like Gunpla and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they do a lot of specialized stuff. I mean, because the game stuff is all these is for miniature painters, to complete the game's workshop.
To be more durable.
Yeah.
ACF Nuggets just said, I can see Revell going into liquidation if they continue the way they are. I doubt that very much, and I'll tell you the reason why is that they, like I said, they like Hornby. They've got their fingers in a lot of pies. Their drones are apparently good. They got a good RC. They've got the. I think Airfix is 1/32 scale cars, and they have a 1/64 scale electric sort of thing. Carrera have. They do the 3D models, the print, the puzzles. They're good sellers. Every Christmas, I remember getting one. Well, I did one the other year, didn't I? On my channel, I did the London, the Millennium Eye and the Houses of Parliament and all that. So I did that. But Martin B just says, I only have a few Revell kits, and that's only because I get them cheaper at the open day. Oh, I guess you're in Germany then, mate, because they have an open day, don't they, in Germany, where you go and get kits cheap. I build Airfix, Tallery, and just a few Tamiya, where I must say Tallery has the best overall selection. That does surprise me. One thing I love to see
liquidation bit, Moss, though, I can see, you say they've got all these other fingers in pies and stuff, which you can absolutely see. But if somebody is running the company overall, investment partners and looking at round two, they're giving the reports and stuff. If the profit margins aren't what they expect because they're getting a shrinking place in the market and stuff, I can see a point where they just say, well, actually, this part of the business isn't doing well enough to bother. If we actually close that, get rid of the employees and stuff, we'd actually save money. So I can see them selling off the model making part of it to another company. In the same way that Airfix got passed around because it's not profitable enough in their portfolio range. And that's what I think is the danger for Revell, is that they become marginalized to the point where the investment company, running all the numbers side of it on the top of everything, just says it's time we divested this piece because it's not good enough.
Okay. Well, it'd be interesting to see who would buy it, because the only one person who would buy it is the company that bought Hella last year. That's the only company I could ever see
Oh, right.
buying
German
up.
company.
Yeah, what's it called? German company, but they've kept all the Hella stuff in France, haven't they? They said so. I was just trying to think what they're called now.
You don't think Airfix would buy it then?
Airfix won't buy Revell. Airfix will not. Listen, I don't put nothing past Airfix. They've just invested heavily in wargaming, which did surprise everyone. That's a lot of money investment. But then the only thing I worry about with Airfix, and I may be talking out of my ass here, but they had a buying round of shares, didn't they, last year? And they gained a lot of investment from the extra shares they put out in stock. And I'd like to know where that money went, and I'd also like to, I think, Matt, you mentioned it in one of the comments before, what happened to the play trains range? How successful that been? We all know that the TT120 has been an absolute disaster, because even the track doesn't fit right, does it?
The circle is the wrong dimension, so you don't get a right circle.
I think Kohler fell on his sword because of that. Do you know?
I'm not going to lie. I like TT120, but I don't have space to run it at the moment, and I can't afford it at the moment. And because there's not many accessories, they've tried to start out from scratch with a new range, but they don't have the extra things to go with it. You don't have the houses or stations or anything. It's literally pretty much just the trains and the track, and it's a bare bones range at the moment as it is. And they went too big. I think you need to start off small with little locomotives so you can buy. This month we've got this one coming out, and then that one, and then that one, and then that one. So they keep constantly get people invested. But they went, here's a big train, and now you got to wait 6 months for the next one to come out.
Yeah. As I said, I think somewhere along the line somebody fell on their sword for that 120, because when you release a product that much and then all of a sudden he's now retiring, sometimes you have to look in the lines, between the OO and the TT120 line, so you know what actually happened there. But he kept his shares. He's got a lot of shares in Hornby. If you look on the shared index, he owns a lot of shares. So, who knows what the future holds? I know that he said that he's not retiring. Well, he said they said he was retiring, and then on a LinkedIn post, he said he wasn't retiring. And Cola Coco, whatever it was called, management is still live and kicking. So, he's got a vision for his future, and I wish him all the best in the world, Mr. Cola. So he's got he's got some ideas of what he's doing, so let him get on. So just a quick one come up here, which I thought was quite interesting, by Gregoria Kaplan. Why is the hatred towards Revell is so common? I like them. Their airplanes are good. For example, I like their F-14D. Their cars are also good. My son enjoyed the VW Easy Click camper enormously. We're not hating on them. We're asking where they're lying. Where's the direction?
Right.
I'm not going to deny the fact that they have brought out some nice product. Click build, their click kit stuff's been great. If you want to see some click builds built from Revell, go on Building on a Budget Models. That lad there, he's done some really good kits with it. I'm not saying that they haven't got some good ideas. I showed last week. I'm not going to get out again. They had the advent calendar tractor, where each day you opened up a door and you get a piece of or a piece of equipment or a paint to build a tractor from. Obviously, when I looked at it and I looked through a few of the doors, they weren't in particular order. I think it's not a case of you get this bit and you build it. You every day you take a bit out, and then on the 25th of December you can then build it in one go because it isn't in particular order. So they've got some good ideas. I feel that they need to stand up to the criticism of reboxing old kits, not telling us, putting in fancy box art, and their prices are on the are a tad rich for a lot of us. Is that a
for
fair
what they're
assessment?
offering.
Yeah, is that a fair assessment from us?
Yeah, because that's the problem I have with them. I mean, I've done some of their ones that are actually their kits. Sometimes a little bit over-engineered. Instructions can be a bit crap. The newer ones are really good, but when you get stuff like this, you know, you fork out the money for it, and you find out it's a really bad old kit, and it's not even theirs. That's the only, like, it's the transparency of them. I mean, other than that, I think they're okay. I mean, I'll
I
still
think the
buy it.
problem with. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, literally, I'd still buy them, but because I mean, I'm quite bad for probably a lot of people. I don't necessarily research models. I see a model I like, I'm going for that, and that's it. And then find out it's crap.
Yeah,
I think the problem that Revell have, and again, not hating on them, I love some of the. I mean, when they brought out the Condor and they brought out the the BV-232, the massive German flying boat, the Flitzer, I think I mentioned, the ARE-555. They were doing some really innovative stuff, and as Matt said, you know, the detail on them was fantastic, way ahead of what we were seeing from some of the other manufacturers. Revell actually, around the turn of the century, were my favourite manufacturer. I think with Italieri second, maybe, and Tamiya there, and Tamiya was third, really, because of price. But the thing is, they're not consistent. If you look at why Tamiya have become the sort of global standard, is because they've been consistent. You can build some of their old kits, the Panzer II, for instance, or the Panther G, the original kit, and they look a bit dated, but they are still as buildable as they were back in the day, and they build up to be pretty good kits. That Panzer II is a nice little model, and it's a tenner. And they've been that consistent decade after decade after decade. Airfix have not been consistent, but have put an enormous amount of effort in since 2017. I would say, actually, from about 2006, maybe, when they divested from the Hella people, to actually build that reputation up again. And they've looked at other model companies. I expect they did look at Tamiya and say, how can we build a reputation like that? And, you know, consistent quality, you know, looking at QC, producing really good subjects with, you know, thoroughly researched, giving a good experience and all of that. Whereas Revell have been up and down and present a range that is also up and down. So again, as we've mentioned a couple of times, it's a roll of the dice. So I think that consistency is really important.
George364 just said that Revell did 59 million euro sales in 2021 and made a profit, where Hornby just made a profit. See, you got to be careful with that figure because that was during COVID. And so people were really investing in doing stuff in their back gardens, you know, so you've got to be careful with that. I know they made a profit, Hornby, but this year they haven't. So it's an interesting thought on that.
Yeah, so I'd ignore everything around COVID.
Yeah,
I'd ignore that. I mean, it did well for the hobby as a general, but I wouldn't. I'd agree with that. I wouldn't go on any company's profit on that couple of years because, like, there's nobody else got anything else better to be doing.
Yeah,
and again, it's Revell. It's not Revell Plastic Models Incorporated, or you know that kind. We don't see the detail of this, and I've been in business long enough to know that you hide your shit in the good stuff, so that you want to present the best possible, especially if you're reporting to an investment company, because you want to please shareholders, and shareholders aren't going to invest if they think your business is tanking, or part of your business is tanking. So if part of it is doing bad, a great way to hide that is to have an umbrella name over a whole bunch of different ranges, and then it all evens out. So it's. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics, as they say.
Net McCall just says, I think that's a very fair assessment, Moz. Well, thank you very much. Some Revell kits are decent, often kits made by someone else like ICM, but otherwise, you never know what you buy them. They are overpriced quite often. And yet, that's where I feel that's where Revell are. They are slightly overpriced. Where was here? Stephen Sheets makes an interesting comment. They might just be busy on other departments and just randomly release something in their model range just to keep it turning over. That is interesting as well. ICM kits and Revell boxes are always cheaper, which is true. Well, you've got the opposite with Airfix, because if it's an Academy kit in an Airfix box, it's normally a tad more expensive. But I can see why they've done that is because they've invested in their own instructions and their own decal. The plastic of that is from Academy, fair dues. But they've got their own deco scheme, and remember, it's cartographs, so there will be better decals. Not saying that Academy decals are crap. I think about 5 years ago, I built a couple of Academy kits, and the decals kind of were very thick. Was that with you, Matt? Did you find some of the Academy decals quite thick?
Oh, they're horrendous.
Yeah.
Is the audio better now, by the way?
Yeah, I think so.
I've changed.
Did you do a restart?
I've disconnected my headset speakers, so now I'm using a disconnected speaker, and then my headset. Disconnected microphone. This is my good microphone, and my headset. So there shouldn't be any way that my mic can hear what I'm listening to.
That's good.
Yeah. Interestingly, if you listen to the StreamYard microphone test song later, it's hilarious. It's actually amazing. I can listen to that again. So what was the question? I was totally off on a tangent then.
Yeah, the question was just saying that
decals.
At the moment, decals of the Academy. You know, I was just saying that Airfix, whereas Revell are selling ICM kits cheaper than what ICM are manufacturing were, when Airfix release an Academy Academy tank in their own boxing, they're about £8 or £9 more expensive, but you're getting Airfix instructions, and you're getting cartograph decals with them. And I was just saying, 5 or 10 years ago, I found Academy decals very thick and a bit hard to get down, whereas the cartograph ones are better. So I'd rather spend the extra £8 and get a cartograph decal sheet than I would using an Academy decal sheet.
Is that the case with the tanks that you've just had?
Yeah,
because I'm sure that the M3 Stuart I've got from a couple of years ago doesn't have cartograph transfers. I'm 90% sure it doesn't have them. I'm going to have to dig that out and have a look now. But they seem to be the newer Academy ones, but they weren't cartograph.
I thought they were cartograph. I remember that.
I feel like it.
All right, maybe I'm wrong then. I'm sure that Dale said that they had.
My M3 Stuart is a few years old now, though. I did start it like 3 years ago.
Well, I'm talking out my ass because these aren't cartograph. These are Academy ones, and they're thick as assholes, so I'm wrong. I take it all back. I assume they were. I remember him saying, Dale said, they are a bit expensive, but there are our own decals and instructions in them. So if you look at, to me, they do look a little bit on the thick side.
Yeah, they don't look like cartograph, do they?
No, they don't. So I'm talking out my ass. So tonight, thank you for the show. I'll speak to you all next week. Goodbye.
All right.
Speaking of Airfix, have you seen that they've got their 30% outlet deal on at the moment?
Yeah, and some of those things are more than 30%.
Oh yes, you can get their Luftwaffe figures for £3.
And the Battle of Britain, what is it? The Warlord Games game is £20, £20.29. You get 4 kits in that: 2 Spitfire Mark 1s and 2 Penny 109s. Plus, of course, it's a game. So that's actually pretty good.
Can I just say, I wish you'd all just shut the fuck up, right? Because I did my video on Saturday for the mystery bundle, right? The mystery bundle comes with a friggin' Avro Vulcan. So I did all my costings on that Vulcan, everything, at £72.49. So if you bought the bundle, right, the cost of kits in the bundle is £120. And then take off the £74 for the price of the mystery bundle, you have a saving of £45. So that's, good. Now they've just had the effing outlet store. They've dropped the price of the Vulcan by £22. That means you're only saving £20 on that mystery bundle. So I text Dale and I said, "What are you doing to me? You're killing me here. You're killing me here. You know,
Funny.
I just.
He waited for you to do that.
You know, well, you know, it's like you get this in it. This is it. That's in it. You get a Supermarine Spitfire Mark 5C, which is 12 quid, and you also get the Tiger Moth, 148 Tiger Moth, which they're re-releasing this year anyway as a future product with new schemes going on to a flight deck of a ship.
Oh yeah.
So I've done this video ready to put out on Wednesday of what you get in the mystery bundle and buy it because it's a good saving of 45 quid. And they've fucked it because they've now reduced the Vulcan by £22.
It won't last for long though.
No, I'm hoping that, you know, and I just said, well, you're gonna have to, you know, you're gonna have to drop the price of the mystery bundle. So you know, I showed a video before. I did a video last night. I was fucking about on it. Like, where's that? Where is it to? Hang on, where's it? Video file. Where's that video? And basically, it ended up like this. You know, this is the video. Okay.
And not a fuck you. What do you need or nothing?
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Honestly, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. I've done the video and everything, ready to go out on Wednesday, and now I've got to redo it because all the pricing's wrong. So
Don't bother.
It's not. Well, this is it, isn't it?
Just put it out. Just put it out now. Just release it now.
No, there's no point. It's no
Premiere
point.
it whilst we're on here. We'll talk about it at the same time.
I could do
Academy
actually.
kits, they're on the Airfix Academy kits. The the Airfix armor. I think there's a Tiger. There's a 35T, the M10 tank destroyer. That M10 tank destroyer is cheaper than Academy. Then you can buy the Academy kit. So, and to the point that somebody mentioned about the ICM kits being cheaper in Revell boxes, I think that's still one of the places that Revell has, is that working with smaller companies like ICM, which produce really good kits, but they don't have the global reach that the Revell brand does.
Yeah.
I mean, John and it's John Alec, that is, and Fenris, I'm sure you can answer this. I mean, how many people know ICM in general in the US market? But everyone's heard of Revell, right?
Exactly. Then that's exactly it. Because like ICM, you don't really see it here.
Yeah. I mean, they are making products in a war zone, so not that surprising. But
Dave, just jump in whenever you like, mate. You don't have to put your hand up. You're not like you're going to go to the toilet or anything. You just chill out. Please, I need a piss.
4 times I've tried to jump in and got talked over.
Sorry.
I haven't heard you, mate. I'm very sorry.
Oh dear. This everybody knows what this is. It's an Arado. Now I remember building this when I first came back to model making a few years ago, and this kit nearly ended my model return due to the fact that the decals are awful, as in they broke up in the water.
Yeah.
I have no decals on this Arado whatsoever. I made a lovely job of it, I think.
You did.
It's banging.
But
It's banging. Don't tell Sully there's no bird's nest in it, but carry on.
no bird's nest, no eggs. I've got camel balls in there.
Bull.
I've got some camel balls in there.
Oh, I'll do.
But no, this kit, after spending all that time, went to put on the decals. There's the camel balls. Hey. I went to put the decals on, and the larger ones just broke up in the water, and the smaller ones just disintegrated. So this is a Revell kit, and the perspex was like, yeah, if you can get that to sit on there without dropping off every time you touch it, good luck to you.
Yeah,
because that's the best I've had out of it since I built it. It's they need to pay a bit more attention to post-production as well as the instruction sheets, not just what the box looks like and what's in it looking like. You know, they've got to give a bit more in the way of what the customer's going to expect from it, rather than what money we can make.
Yeah,
that looks great.
It's a nice looking kit, isn't it?
It was a lovely kit. It really was. I spent loads of time on this one.
look at that
I
engine.
really did enjoy
That
building.
looks great.
So that's on my bucket list, but is that the militarized version, was it?
It is the military one, yeah.
It's the summer bucket. Like, I just find it really hard to get hold of these days.
I mean, you got the plinth and everything with it. It was a lovely kit. But when it came to the decals, no. And I weren't going to go into... I never knew things about aftermarket and stuff like that.
Engine looks great.
But it took me forever to try and get a decal to stay in one piece. I didn't know about brushing this stuff all over them, and you know what I mean. So
well, the thing is, the expectation is that you should have decals that at least work.
Yes, it nearly killed my enjoyment of the hobby.
Yeah,
but I persevered. I moved on to another kit, but I still do build Revell.
Yeah,
and ICM. So I just thought I'd put my 10 penneth in. That's it. You can carry on now. Go.
I'm really sorry, Dave.
Go.
Dave, anytime, mate. Honestly, just say, excuse me. Just jump in, mate. Honestly.
Well, I did in the end in chat.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's where I had to put my comments. It wasn't chat.
Just tell us to shut up.
I kept waiting.
Just jump in, honestly, mate. Honestly.
Has anybody built a Starfix kit?
Oh, God, yeah.
No, I don't know
I
them.
wonder how that chap got on, the one you sent him, John.
I don't know.
I'd love to know what he said. Like,
I hope he doesn't try and use the transfers in that kit because they're rub-on.
Rub-on, are they?
No.
Rub-on transfers.
Are
Yeah.
they the Mr. Miyagi's, are they?
You get like a tuppenny bit and you rub it over the back of the... And it, yeah.
Just don't
I've
know
built
about
some
the
kits in the past that are rub-on decals.
Yeah, thank you guys
Yeah.
in chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Mr. Minutes.
Where is it? I've got it here somewhere. What was that kit?
I showed Moss this kit when we were recording the podcast last week, and he only went and bought it. It's
No.
What's he bought?
it's actually called a British Battle Fighter. It doesn't specify what aircraft it is, but it does have a picture of a Spitfire on the front.
It's a graphics art kit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. A graphics kit.
Oh my god!
I want one of those to see how bad it actually is.
That is the worst.
With Tempest wings.
The worst Spitfire I've ever seen.
Can I just say, when we talk about dog shit kits, honestly, it's so that's the look of it. Look at those paints, man.
You need to go big.
That kit is so bad you can't even tell what mark it is.
There you go.
Well, they're bright.
Well, it's a
the way the canopy is molded into the fuselage.
It's a Mark I British battle fighter, right?
The curved edge to the wing is on the front instead of the trailing edge.
Yeah, that's right. So the wings go on that way. The wings go on that way. Look at
the roundel. Oh my god.
The roundels. And the best thing about the roundels is that
you don't worry about.
Let me just get it out. Let me get the decal out. All right, you're gonna love this. Yeah. Where's the decal to? Come on.
I told Moss I think we should do a group build of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a group build start.
So there's the roundels.
Oh no.
The decal.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Can I tell you something, Moss, about Revell?
Yeah.
In the 50s, Revell released a range of kits that had little pimples on the wings and the fuselage to tell you where the decals go.
Yeah.
They were pimples version of what you got there.
Amazing.
Horrendous.
So,
beautiful.
Actually, I don't even think they're decals. Are they stickers?
They might be rub-on. I think you should do a video build and put it on video.
Oh, they're stickers.
Hey!
Beautiful.
Hang on.
God,
So you put the roundels on where they're supposed to go.
oh my God.
Oh, Christ.
I think the register on that roundel is brilliant.
That's
They're
horrendous.
probably accurate. They're probably accurate.
They probably are, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Aren't they Indian colours?
I was going to say Indian Air Force.
Yeah, what nation is green, white, and red with the yellow outside?
It's a British fighter with Indian roundels.
Amazing. But yeah,
Have you
that's what
seen-
it's called. It's called the British Battle Fighter,
That's right.
and it's a click kit. And that's the instructions for it. There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, it's the wrong way around.
I don't see what the issue is because that looks
Look
like
at
a
those
battle fighter to
wings.
me.
Look at those wings. Honestly,
They're
Right.
great.
it's like
They're
I think
backwards.
it takes off that way. It takes off backwards.
They're backwards.
Have you seen their other kits in their range?
No, I this one cost me £6, and I even balked at paying £6 for it. You know.
Dude, you
But
never
it's like
paid for it.
they've gone to the works and gone to one of those painted by numbers kits and just grabbed the paint out of it. Like, you know what I mean? I tell you what, hang on. I'll just have a look. Hang on.
They
Tell you
do
what.
an F-16, you know, Moss. It looks like some out of Captain Scarlet.
I was just going to say that actually, do you know what, the paints in here, lads, are just like they've come out of the Airfix at the Humble factory. Look how dry they are.
There's no paint in there, is there?
Oh my word!
That's
You have to
horrendous.
put water in them.
Put some
Oh, look,
water in them.
hey, look at the lip on that, man. Look at that. Oh dear.
Where is
And for your very, you know, look at that.
Did you see the comment in the chat, Moss?
Where's
You can
that?
auction it.
You're gonna auction it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highest
I'd
bidder.
love to see who buys it.
I'm gonna build this one. I tell you, this one's going right on the ode to build list. Actually, I'm gonna put the bomb bug to a side because I think I'm gonna get more views on building
I
this.
think you will.
I am.
Is that the worst Spitfire in the world? Or does
It's this.
But it's not
Uh,
a Spitfire though. It's a battle fighter.
Yeah, so it's because I think that's what they've done. It's a
That
battle
special
fighter.
secret project.
I think Fairy would be upset with that,
Oh,
calling it a battle.
Yeah, Ivan's got a good one for you.
I was going to say RJ Mitchell's probably turning in his grave.
Probably is.
That's what can I just say? This is what it says on the back, right? British battle fighter history. Whoa.
Oh,
The British battle fighter is modelled on the Spitfire, a short-range, high-performance interceptor aircraft designed by RJ Mitchell, the chief designer at Vickers Armstrong.
Because
Vickers Armstrong.
Never mind.
The Spitfire's elliptical wing design enabled the fighter aircraft at high speed that would prove essential to the Battle of Britain. After playing a vital role in the Second World War, the Spitfire became the backbone of RAF Command, seeing action in Europe, Pacific, and Southeast Asian combat theatres. And it comes with I like the way they call it, not a sprue, they call it 2 times precast model sheet. A model sheet.
Oh,
Never heard a sprue called that before.
No, I haven't.
I've been called many things,
one
but never that.
paintbrush, and it says here 1 sheet of original decals. Nah, not a chance. 4 pots of acrylic paint and instruction sheet. No glue required apparently, but it just got all these lovely pictures of the Spitfire, and it's nothing like it, man. Mind you, the wings were a bit the wrong way, aren't they, on that picture? So maybe that's what they've done. But you don't get the white stripe in the white stripe either. So, anyways, that's dog shit kit to end all dog shit kits. If you can build that to a specific standard and make it look like a Spitfire, you're doing all right, aren't you?
I want to see the challenge patch, Moss.
Yeah, I'm going to do a challenge patch.
Battle fighter.
you know that little bit on the back about RJ Mitchell being the head
Yeah.
designer at Vickers Armstrong? That's technically a little bit incorrect because Supermarine was owned by Vickers Armstrong, but they were still allowed to operate under the Supermarine name. So he was the head designer of Supermarine, but technically under Vickers Armstrong. So I feel like they've done a lot of keeping it safe with that design of that kit. So I think by putting the wings on backwards, they're avoiding any like copyright that they might have to give or royalties.
Yeah. So anyway, tonight's auction is going to be the. I'm going to build that one. But no, as I said, it's just we saw it on our little podcast recorded, and he said, "I'd like to find one." And just as this shows you how your computer listens to you, because I went on and I went to King Kit, I think it was called, and just looked and bang, there it was. I just typed in British battle fighter, and there it was, like on the screen. So, but it's crap. It's absolute. Honestly, if Revell started to produce kits like this, you just shut the door, wouldn't you? Just give us the keys and fuck off. You know what I mean? So, yeah, just give us the keys and go. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it's good. It's and it's a new tooling as well. I think it's only 3-year-old, isn't it? But the sort of thing you would find in the works, wouldn't you, at the bargain bin, like But it was fast dried acrylics, so I'll build it and let's have a little laugh with it. I'll probably get I'll get some good views on that one. But yeah, going back to my latest video was being canned, unless they do so. I've texted Dale tonight and I just said, I've just done this mystery bundle and you've just reduced the price on the Vulcan. Can you drop it? You remove it, So I think he's going to have a look at the price of the mystery bundle because you were saving 45 quid, and if you were a club member, you could get another 10% off that. But now it just all my back of a fag packet maths that I used on it is null and void now because the Avro Vulcan is 50 nicker in the outlet store.
I didn't use the
Vulcan apologised
to do the map work.
Pardon?
Didn't you use the back of the Vulcan to do the map work?
No, should have done. It's not a bad mystery bundle, to be honest. It's not 3 kits this time; it's 4 kits. But when they say it's up to 50 quid, it's not quite 50, up to 50% off. Now they've reduced it in the outlet store. There's no way that you make 22 pounds savings. So it's not as good as it could have been. So it's a shame. It's a shame. But
you still need that camera, Moss.
I need the camera.
Yeah, come on, Moss.
Focus.
That was such a demon sitting on the shoulders voice, John Alex. That's
auction.
Can I just
yeah, jump in, Dave.
Can I do a shout out to Airfix? You lot shut up.
Yeah.
Because I was given an early Christmas present and I received this from my better half. And not only was there a kit in it that it's rather nice and it's packaged very well.
It is, yeah.
It really is packaged, and the box is full. Look at that. You can't push down on any of that.
That's how they're designing it now. Yeah,
it's a lovely packaged kit. Look at this. Wow, and it's clean. All the sprue is clean.
Yeah,
I've not opened it, so I'm not going to do so. The instructions are really nice, but I'm not building it. I ain't building this with all them doddy little things. I've got sausage fingers, for God's sake. Look at them.
Honestly, what I tend to do is I do about 25% of the stencils these days. I don't do them all. If I think it needs it, I put them on. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So,
well, I'm not building this. This is going to be my 500th sub giveaway. And this was in my club box. But along with, which I really was impressed with, was this. Ooh, a lovely club badge. And it's metal. And even the back is stamped Airfix.
Yeah, they are
I
good.
was-
That's
and
fine.
this is gorgeous.
Very nice. That's cool, man.
That is brilliant, and it's printed both sides as well. That is printed.
I've got loads of them. If you want one, John, give me a shout. And I'll
These-
send
Oh,
you one.
please.
are
No, I love
gorgeous.
one of those.
Yeah.
Couple of nice stickers. A poster, which Mossy's got on the back of his wall there, I noticed.
Yeah, they
My-
send that one every year.
My passport, that I've got no millage things.
Hmm.
Knock, knock. I got a lovely welcome letter.
From Hornby, from Simon Kohler. Yeah.
No. From the Airfix Club,
Yeah.
which was from the Airfix team.
Yeah.
There's no I in team. And then
Yeah.
obviously, you don't want to see that. You were talking about play trains.
Yeah.
So there's something for the kiddies to read. as well.
Why are they doing that? Fuck off. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't understand why I'd got stuff to do with trains in the box for.
Is it
model
possible that Airfix are doing something right and Hornby are like, oh, come on, let us just jump on, give us some
Yeah.
success.
Yeah,
Let us
yeah,
that's it,
push
yeah.
us a bit, will you?
Yeah.
The bite of the carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's-
I mean, that was
and
the whole thing with the TV show, right? That they had.
Yeah.
It was
apart
like
from
all
the Hornby
Hornby and-
stuff, yes, very
Yeah.
nicely presented,
Mm.
and any link details you want is all here. That's
Did you
Hornby.
Did you get one of these, Dave?
No,
No, they stopped doing them 2 years ago.
yes, which I
Do you
was
know why they
disappointed.
stopped? Do you know what, right? They've got their own number at the bottom, right? And do you know what? This is true. Dale told me this. 'Cause I said, I didn't get an Airfix Club members card this year. He said they weren't even recording the numbers they were sending out with. They were pointless. They were pointless. They were out there. They give these, and they weren't even recording the numbers. They know you by your name and your telephone number. That's all they know you as,
really?
or your postcode.
It's on your
They
account
didn't
anyway.
didn't even keep the numbers, record the numbers. So what's the point? Stephen Sheets has just said I went through the shelf and Lidl, sorry, and I bought a Spitfire and he bought a Tiger. No, they don't come with flying hours no more. Those starter sets in Audi don't.
No,
But if you bought their quick build, which one was it?
I was gonna say it's the same with quick builds now.
Yeah. One of the quick builds they had on the shelf there did have a flying hour, so one to me on that one, and it did have a flying hour. So
You got to.
there you go. It's on that one, on
Yeah.
the white Lambo.
yeah, there is one.
Oh, yeah.
There's one
But not on the Beetle.
As
it's
a
on the Lambo,
new
isn't it?
affiliated club member,
Yeah,
I'd just like to say a big thank you to Airfix for a lovely box.
yeah. You can auction them boxes off. People want them.
Do they?
Really?
I don't know. I've got a
You
few
want one more?
upstairs in my. I got a few up in my attic actually. Well, I've been a club
So-
member now 5 years, so
On the subject, Moss, seeing as how you brought it up,
Yeah.
you've got 10 minutes, and I know Alex is dying to get something new for his stock. Are we having an auction?
no, not tonight.
Oh, come on. Think of that camera.
He said that last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think you promised us one last week, Moss.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he said he was going to go in the loft and dig some out.
Fucking hell.
And there's video evidence as well.
Yeah,
Boy,
and you
boy.
put it up. Oh, it's a chunky box. Oh, mommy.
Okay, so this is an M36 BT Battle of the Boge. All right, rules are you put the auction up. It's a 5-minute auction, and where's my phone? I just better put it on silent and everything. So let's just do that. Put that on there. Okay, so let's put that there so you can see that. If I move that out the way.
I've got to have
Can you see that? I need to put the clock on now, don't I? I need to put the clock on. Put the clock on. Stopwatch, timer, 5-minute timer.
You
Go.
behave.
Is that on? So there you go.
It's not worth as much as it was yesterday, Moss, before the outlet sale.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. This one comes by. No, okay, this one here, right?
You've got to go big screen.
Hang on. Big screen on this one. So this one here, right? Well, I've signed the back of it this time. I've signed the back of this one. All right. Sign the back. Sign the back.
Oh, that's defaced it. That's a $5.
Yeah. So anybody, I'll start the bidding off then. Anyone. Shipping to the US is about $25, I think, isn't it, Fenris? It's about that sort of
I was right about that.
There's £5 delivery.
But if you're in the UK, it's £5 on top of the final. So
Daggers in there at tenner.
I'm gonna have to go right. So I can't go yet, love. There's a big spider in the bedroom, and the cat's ran away apparently. So you have to wait a minute. Right. That's what my missus. My missus just texted me and said, "Can you come up because there's a big spider in the room and the cat's ran away? Can you remove it?" So, right. So this one here is an 135th scale M36 BC Battle of the Bulge. Start your bidding. Got 3 minutes gone. 3 minutes left on the bidding. All right. So if you want to put a bid on it, UK is £5 postage. If you're outside the UK, it's about 25 quid. But I try and get it cheaper if I can. So there you go. Anybody want to put a bid on that?
I did.
Anyone?
Is that Taggers? Dave.
Screw and Glue got a tenner down so far. David Coombs is a 20 quid on that one. That's good. 20 quid on that one.
21 from Taggers.
21 Taggers, you bugger. 21 quid.
Taggers, really?
It should have been a $5 already, Taggers. It should be 25, but I'll let you off this one. It's a Korean kit, so it's Academy, by the way. Good decals in it. It's a really good kit, to be honest. But as I said, I'm trying to get my my camera. So whoops, so Tiger's got it for 21 quid. There's 2 minutes left. I've got to think of some more kits to do, I suppose. I can't give you that because I need that. So there you go. £21 so far for this one.
22.
Wayne, you're behind. It's 20. It's those 21, I'm afraid. Oh, David Coombs has gone 22. £22.
23.
Mega's gone 23. Oh. No pennies either. If you put a penny down, I put £1 on. I put a £5 on, actually. So if you put down £23 and 8p, I put it down as 28. All right? That's the deal, all right? What could I give them? Selling me kits. I'm selling me kits. So, oh, by the way, it's a good. What's it? There you go. There's the schemes on it there. Yeah, there's the schemes. You can do.
And it's personally named after Mossy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Battle of the Bulge. Brutal.
Who invited him on? Let's get back on screen. So 1 minute to go. Is it a 4K camera you're saving from us? No, actually, it will be 8K. I think it would be when I get it. But I don't upload in 4K because I don't see the point. I really don't. 1080p is fine. YouTube hate 4K. I've got a feeling that if you upload in 4K, they reduce who watches it because it's a lot of information going through. Yep. Or what they do is they reduce it automatically down to 1080p. Then you have to physically put it up to 4K. There's something that people.
I know that there's some weird compression thing too that they do to it. That, like it ends up not fully.
Yeah.
Once not many people watch stuff in 4K anyway.
So Tiger's at 23 quid, 26 seconds to go. Come on.
Come on, guys. Who wants a camera?
Get some bids. Who wants it? Daddy needs a camera. Oh, David JM to £25. £25 for David JM.
Here we go.
Brilliant. Here we go. 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7. So if you're going to bid now. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, 1080p. There we go. David JM.
Well done, David.
Nice.
Well done, David. Well done. Excellent. Right.
Oh, he's going to the big bundle, guys.
Big bundle.
Come on, guys, show your metal.
This one's retailing at 50 quid. I know it is. It can't be reduced now, surely. Right, there we go. It is the Panther, 135th Panther by Airfix.
That's a nice kit.
It's a fabulous kit. So if you want it, come get it. Where we start it now. So why is that? Come and get it. So sprue and glue's in for 20 on this one. 20 for this one. I'll just write this down actually. David JM 25, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's reduced to 18 quid. You're lying. It's not 18 quid, is it? Fuck off.
No, it's not.
He's having your pants down. They've
Yeah,
got
it's
the
pulling on your plonker.
They've got the German light
Jaggers.
tank, M10 GMC, Jag Panzer 38, King Tiger, and that's it. I think they don't have any.
Is that
other...
on there? Is it? This is on there.
No,
is it?
the Panther isn't on there. No.
Yeah. So this is a 50 quid kit, is it?
Yeah.
If you want me to sign it, put it. If you want me to sign it, put on there your bid and signed. All right, that'd be good. So it's still £52 on the Airfix site, is it? So
Yeah, 51.99 on Airfix still.
I don't want to get rid of this one now. That's it. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
So there you go. Get yourself a bargain. Remember, if you're in the UK, it's a £5. If you're abroad, it's about 20-25 quid because of the size of it. It's not me. What I do is I put it down and I take a risk and say it's only worth a tenner. So you shouldn't get import fees with it either when it gets there. So it's so there you go, 21 quid so far. Somebody got to beat this for 21. It's got to be worth 50. When you've been missed, mate. I have missed you, mate. I have noticed you've been missing. So at the moment we've got 3:16 on the clock. 3:16 on the clock. Come on, I need a camera. Nobody's bidding, honestly.
All right, hold on.
Don't you dare. They'll come in a minute. They're waiting for the time to go down, aren't they? That's what it is. 25. We've got a 25 from Chef.
We're going to do some sniping.
There you go.
There we go.
£30 from John. Oh, that's a good start. That is. That's good. 35. Look at that. £30. £30 for that one. 2 minutes left, actually. 2 minutes left. These are good, these auctions. I need to go up the attic and get another load down, I think.
That's a
Contributing to the camera fund, man.
Yeah, it's my camera fund. It's about 700 quid now, I think. 600, 700 quid.
Yep. Plus, I want one of those do not remove things. So that's you can put it in there.
You want one of the
one of the key rings.
Yeah, the key rings, man. If you got one.
I've got one here, mate. I've got one here. Where is it to? Somewhere. I'll send you one anyway, free of charge.
Let's say, what's the key ring worth it to you? Because I can.
This way it saves it. All right,
Go for it.
Members.
I've had one on my. It's looking dirty now, but I've had this one for 2 years. It's like proper, like it's really. It looks like it's proper weather that's been on a plane, like
Nice.
Yeah. So please remove before assembly. Good idea. That a good bit of marketing. That. Well, let's see. 1 minute 28 seconds on this one. Gone.
My tags have actually travelled around the world with me.
Oh,
31
that's it.
£31.
31. That's good.
And they're really handy in the airport to spot your bags.
I bet they are. Wayne Welly. What's up, Wayne Welly? What's mean? 32 from Tigers.
Oh.
Right, got a minute left, folks.
35.
35 from David JM. 35 from David JM. Brilliant. Now bids are in. Here we go.
Yeah.
What we got down to? Let's go bigger actually, so you can see the timing. 45 seconds left on this one. Come
on, guys! You wanted the auctions. Show your metal. Get your wallets open and let them moths breathe.
Yeah. Do those kits have photo etch in them? I don't. I
They
think
do.
this one does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Not
Right,
big
so we
threats,
go.
but they
Yeah.
have some.
Right, 16 seconds left on this one. 16 seconds. So you want to bid now. David James got it at 35. I said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And David JM has won this one. Well done, matey. There you go.
Well done, David.
That's a steal.
Well done, David. Well
Yeah.
done, David. Oh, get off.
Well done, David.
Well done. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
nice
good.
one.
I'll
Nice.
send you one of those key rings, mate. I've got a few lying around here.
Hey, next time I buy something from you, man.
Yeah, okay, mate. No
Don't.
worries. No worries. Well, I think I was quite good Airfix and Chill tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining
Is that
me.
it?
And
Is that it?
yeah.
Have you not got one more?
No, it's 10
Just-
o'clock, mate. And
Just one
No,
more.
Okay, you've got 4
Listen.
minutes left. You have 4
no,
minutes.
I can't.
Just
I can't.
one more.
I'll tell you what, next week, when we do our chat about is Tamiya still setting the standards of scale modelling, that's our chat next week. All right. I know it's bank holiday, so it might be on a Tuesday. Depends what happens on bank holiday. But our next chat next week is Tamiya still the standard bearer of scale modelling in the world? Because I still think that Edard are up there now. It's not just Tamiya now, and I think Airfix are getting there as well. So that's our chat either next Monday or Tuesday. So, but no more tonight. We'll carry on with some more
One
next
more
week.
before we go.
Sorry, I haven't got one.
Before
I haven't
we
got
go.
one. I haven't got one.
does.
I haven't got one. I'll tell you what, I'll do this one next week.
This is
I'll do this one next week, all right? Next week we'll do that one.
oh, you
Right.
come on.
No, that's it. I can't.
Judas
So-
Priest
Because that one's
leaving
already
the stage before living after midnight, man.
To be fair, I've got to go and rescue the missus from a spider before she turns into Spider Woman. You know, so they're walking down the stairs on the roof, like you know.
Widow of the web.
Fucking hell, Dave. Honestly,
Do you remember that film that had that in it?
Women of the Web.
No, Widow of the Web.
Oh, Kron.
Krull.
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 Yeah, that was brilliant. That one.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. By the way, Doc Brown, bless him. I thought I was going to mention him. Could you go and check out his channel? Right. He's starting to put model builds up, and he's also been looking over mine and Alex's podcast. So he's editing it, and we're going to pay him with kits. I think that's what we said, wasn't it? But could you go over there and give Doc Brown a lot of love? Give him a subscribe and a follow, and like his video. And he's actually going to be editing our podcast. We may even get him on one of our podcasts as well. So you'll be able to meet up with him. Anyway, folks, it's that time of the night. We've got to go. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, John Parker. Stay behind after John when this finishes. I want to chat with you. We got Sully, John, Alec. We got Matt for Model Minutes, Dave from Spookroot, and Fenris, and myself. Thank you all, and we'll see you either next Monday or Tuesday next week. And it will be talking about is Tamiya setting the standard of scale modelling still. Take care, all. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.